Okay, we're on G7 here. Just gonna put my gloves on. Yep. Oh well. It's not that cold. 45, 50 degrees, I'm guessing. 9:30. Really nice day. Already seen one elk and one deer. I've seen a lot of elk on this trail, but usually it's earlier in the morning that I see them. Already pushing 9:30, quarter to 10, somewhere around there. Deer up there before. It's a pretty nice trail. I took a little road trip. Was it last week? I think it was a week before. Took a road trip up north. And it was quite a drive. Going up, I drove during the nighttime, so I left like 10 p.m. Saturday night. drove right through the nighttime, but Jesus, there's no traffic. Very, very little truck traffic, very little car traffic, but there were deer everywhere on the side of the roads, and the interstate that I was traveling didn't have any street lamps on it, unless there's like a big intersection or something, you know, like a big exit. But otherwise, when it got rural in the middle of nowhere, it was perfectly straight and smooth. I mean, it was a nice 70-mile-an-hour highway, but there was no street lights. And so on the side of the road, you'd be driving and you'd see, you know, deers everywhere. You'd see some dead ones too. Dead ones on the side of the road, and you're like, geez, please don't step in front of me. Because at 70 miles an hour in the dark, you're pretty much done for. You're going to hit the deer and it's going to make a mess. And, you know, depending upon how big the deer is or where you hit it on your car, you might just total the car out in the middle of nowhere at 2 or 3 in the morning. So coming back, I figured I'd rather drive during the day, even if it takes me longer. So driving up took me 15 hours. I just drove straight through, drank some coffee, and stopped at the rest stops. So it took 15 hours, which is manageable. I mean, I got tired after, nice view there. I got tired after maybe 8 hours. So, you know, I was tired pretty much halfway through the ride. You know, then you're just waiting for it to get light out. And once it gets light out, it was, you know, much better. It was Sunday morning, and traffic was still pretty light. Traffic only really picked up like around, it's probably 1 or 2 in the afternoon on a Sunday, you know. So I was going to do the same thing coming back, but I didn't want to drive with all those deer around. I mean, if I was guaranteed there was no deer, I'd definitely want to drive at night, because there's so much less traffic. But I was paranoid a deer was gonna, I mean, all you need is 2 or 3 deer to run across the road when you're doing 70 miles an hour. And even if you try to avoid them, you could conceivably lose control and go off the road. So that wouldn't be good. So instead of leaving Saturday at 10 p.m., I left Saturday at 5 a.m. So it was dark for the first 2 hours into the ride. Actually, I left at 5:30 a.m. So it was dark until, you know, 7:30 a.m. first 2 hours. By that time, I had made some good progress. But it ended up taking me 16 hours. There was still light truck traffic, not much truck action until about Then at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, I started seeing more trucks heading south. But I made pretty decent progress, but it still took me, instead of 15 hours, I think it took me 16 hours. So I didn't get home. I left at 5:30 a.m. and I didn't get home until 8 p.m. 8 or 8:15, somewhere around there. So that was a long day. So if I do it again, I think I'll probably stop. I hate to waste 4 days on the road, you know. 2 days up and 2 days back. Two more hotel stays, you know. And some hotel that you don't know about, you know. So I may just scope out the map, try to find a midway point. I think I've already done that. Find a midway point and then start looking around for hotels online, and it's a gamble in itself. You know, you got all these fake reviews saying the place is great, you know, it's really nice, and you get there and it's a crack hotel. You're like, gee, nobody mentioned in the comments that there were people dealing crack in the lobby. You know, or there are hookers in the elevators. But again, I'm just looking for a bed to sleep on. Actually, I think I could just sleep in the car if I could find a spot. I mean, some of the rest stops, it looked like people were just sleeping there. I mean, there were motorhomes there were cars. You know, then you go in the bathroom at 3 a.m. and there's 2 people there. So you're like, well, where are all these other people? There's, you know, 20 cars in the parking lot. So they may be sleeping in the car. I mean, I guess it's an option, but geez. Taking a risk with that too. Somebody showing up with a sawed-off shotgun at the window. Saying, hey, you mind if we take your car? And it's definitely warmer here. The sun's been hitting. So we'll see. I might take that trip again in the spring. So yesterday I did an oil change in the car. G2.